Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. And my goal is to save you time and money by giving you the inside scoop of filmmaking quality and content. So you can decide whether or not you want to spend time or money watching a particular film. So the movie I'm reviewing today is called Out Come the Wolves. This bloody thriller releases in theaters on August 30th, 2024. The film is rated R for blood and gore and some profanity, but I'll give you tips for parents here in just a few minutes. The length is an hour and 27 minutes, and my overall movie review mom grade is probably hovering around a B. So, first, I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked, things I didn't like, tips for parents, themes worth talking about if you watch this with other people, funny lines, interesting lines, and we'll finish up with recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that you might also really like, especially if you like this one. All right, so first, in a nutshell, the story takes place at a cabin deep in the wilderness forest. A man, his fiancée, and her old guy friend from childhood hang out and go hunting, only to find that they're the ones being hunted. Dun, dun, dun. The film was directed by Adam McDonald, who also co-wrote it with George Jarsky and Anuka Okuma. So here's the quick tips for parents. This is not appropriate for kids. There is some profanity, as I mentioned, with F-bombs. We see bloodied, dead bodies with broken, torn up body parts. We see people and animals killed in bloody, gory, brutal, visceral ways. There is talk of young teenagers sleeping together, and we see an unmarried couple in bed. Now, they're not having any action, they're just talking. So, with clothes on, just saying. Some of the themes that are illustrated well are hunting animals, survival, friendship, relationships, jealousy, family traditions, and wilderness. So, some of the things that I really liked include the cast, which features the lovely Missy Peregrine, George Jarsky, and Damon Runyon. That's basically the cast, right? I mean, really, it's just these three people, which I'm always impressed when a film can keep you interested with such a small cast ensemble. Now, I don't know if they did all of their own stunts, but some of the scenes actually were pretty good, especially when Missy falls down this big hill. I mean, she keeps going and going and tumbling, and you're just like, is that her or is that a stunt woman? I don't know. That looked pretty good. There is gorgeous cinematography by Christian Beale. So, congratulations to Christian. There are a lot of really intriguing camera angles that keep things interesting. And I appreciated that because the movie itself is pretty straightforward. And again, there are only three people. So, you need some filmmaking techniques that cause you to look at scenes differently. And so, I really enjoyed that. The wolves and the attacks by the wolves look very real. So I don't know how they did all of that. Now, onto the list of things that I didn't like. Um, but I did enjoy the movie. I mean, as much as you can enjoy people getting attacked and killed by wolves, I'm just saying. Anyway, there is a lot of time wasted in Act One, dancing around, drinking. They're trying to establish the characters, obviously. But of course, people want to watch this movie because they want to get to the wolves. So some people may be, frustrated waiting for all the good stuff to happen. So Sophie, who's played by Missy, her fiance is painted to be a real jerk in Act One. So of course, you assume that he's going to be the first one to die, right? No love lost, right? Because of that, the movie kind of felt like a shark movie where the most annoying characters are usually the first ones to go. Fortunately, that's not quite that simple in this movie. Now, this is a spoiler free review. So I'm just saying, don't make any assumptions about anything. There's this nighttime bed scene that I mentioned where this man and his fiance are in bed and they're talking. It's visually very dark and it's hard to see what's happening. But really, it's that pillow talk that's the most important part of the story and the scene about what's happening than the visuals, anyway. There are arrows and knives and other weapons, guns, firearms, all that kind of stuff. And they don't always work. But there's this one scene where a character yells at a wolf and the wolf runs away. And I'm like, really? I just thought that was kind of lame. Like after we've seen vicious, brutal attacks. So I'm like, okay, that's silly. The movie, as I mentioned, felt like a shark movie. And I hope that means good things because I've also reviewed a lot of really bad shark movies lately. But if you like shark movies, I think you might like this. And then I think ultimately it would have been more fun to fill the stories with more characters. That being said, the plot, as I said, was very simple and straightforward. But if we had a few more characters, I think that would have, of course, allowed more people to be killed and attacked and, running around the wilderness in this forest. But it was very simple, and partly because the other guy's girlfriend wasn't there is what changed the dynamics a little bit. And so that might have been lost if there had been more characters. I'm just saying. So whenever I watch movies, I write down funny lines and interesting lines simply so I can share them with you. So you get a taste for the dialogue and the script writing quality. So you can see all of them written on my moviereviewmom.com website, but I'll share some of them with you right now. So Nolan is played by Damon Runyon. And as I mentioned, he had some hand in writing the story. And so he sees his fiancée shoot with a bow and arrow. I'm doing this. This is my bow and arrow. Shooting with a bow and arrow for the first time. And he says, not going to lie, that's pretty sexy, because she's good. Of course, I expected her to hit a bullseye, and she was off, but she still made the target good enough. He was impressed. Anyway, and then another time she says a line, and she says, she's trying to get her fiance to go with her old best friend because he's a really good hunter with the bow and arrow and with the rifles and that. And so she's, saying, you should go out with him. I'll hang out at the cabin. You guys, have your moment. And she says, Kyle taking you out hunting could be the very beginning of a beautiful bromance, which, she was trying to go for. Now, there are also some interesting lines that are often the ones that highlight the themes of the film itself. And so Sophie says to her fiance, nature has a way of showing you who you really are. And of course, that's a foreshadowing of what we're going to see. Kyle, played by Joris Jarsky, says, in nature, what you see is what you get. And he's contrasting that to society and how there's games that people play and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was an interesting line. And then Nolan, again, played by Damon Runyon, says, choices, they shape your life. Choices determine your happiness. And I thought, that's really true. And I was wondering how they were going to illustrate that as a theme. I think there's a lot more, wolf hunting and dying and trying to survive than the true happiness. However, choices definitely take place in the movie, and there are consequences to those choices. And then actually I should have included this on the funny line. I just read my note, and this was spoken by Kyle, played by Joris Jarsky, and he says, everyone thinks they want to have kids until they have them. Anyway, so they talk about life and that kind of stuff. Now, let me share 3 movie recommendations for films that I instantly thought of as I was watching this. The first one, of course, is The Gray, where it's Liam Neeson using his special set of skills to survive constantly being tracked and followed and hunted by this pack of wolves out in the snow-covered wilderness. And if you like wolves, if you like Liam Neeson, it's interesting. It's fun. There's lots of tension, and you're like worried for him the whole time. And then another movie about man and wolves is called Alpha. Now, in this case, the wolf is, a prehistoric wolf who befriends a young boy who's trying to survive. So there are some other wolves and some other things going on, but there's wolves. So. And then the last movie is called Wolves. Now, I also could have thought of a bunch of other movies about werewolves, but that's not really where we're going here. We're talking about real wolves and attacking humans and that kind of thing. Anyway, I hope you'll like those. The links are down below in the description. They're Amazon affiliate links. So if you rent them or purchase the movies, then Amazon sends me a penny or two to thank me for telling you about them. But I really did enjoy those movies and thought you might want to know about them. So when you get a minute, visit me all over social media as Movie Review Mom or my author name, Trina Boice. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.